All right, shalom, 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 Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless, it's your brothers back at you with another episode of Sands of the Sea. All right, where we come at you with local news, local perspectives from the Israelites scattered in the islands of Hawaii. All right, I know a lot of times a lot of folks don't really take into consideration what's going on way out here in the Pacific Ocean. It must be paradise, right?
Must be.
Must be, right? But a lot of times that's not the full story. Yes, the weather's nice, the landscape is beautiful, but when you begin to peel back the layers, the scriptures say the curses will follow us no matter where we go. So, your brothers is here. All right. I'm Officer Hezeki to my right.
Officer Ithiel.
All right, we here. We're gonna give you another dose of that biblical perspective of what is really going on here in Hawaii. All right, so what is it we're gonna talk about today, officer? What we got on the docket?
Today we're gonna talk about marginalization, especially as it pertains to the workplace here in Hawaii, right? That's one of the things. Like when you read up on Hawaii or search up in it, that domain isn't necessarily explored or visible. So that's what we're gonna talk about a little bit today.
Okay. I think that's a excellent topic for us and for most people that are here, that are so-called African American tribe of Judah of the nation of Israel. Just to make it plain, all right. But a lot of you all experience these things in the workplace.
In the workplace.
In the workplace, all right. We were trying to look up some of the what do you call it?
Statistics,
Yeah,
facts.
with the EEO,
Yeah.
the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission, stuff like that. But a lot of that information is not necessarily publicly available to the detailed level. But we do know, based on a lot of, let's say, firsthand accounts,
Yeah.
talking with brothers and sisters about their experiences in the workplace, that a lot of the discrimination that black people feel in the islands comes in the work setting.
Yeah.
All right. Just to give a little bit of that, right? As far as like statistics, as best as we can. So for the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission for 2022-2023, which is what's available at this point, there were 430 discrimination complaints. 83% of those, or 358 of those complaints, were employment based. So that's telling you where most of the discrimination takes place is at the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And of those complaints, the primary basis cited was 13% of that was based on race. All right, that's what they say, based on race. But what we have to always remember and acknowledge is that many times our people don't report stuff that's going on in the workplace. So that might be the figure that's out there, but we know we're not taking stuff to the Civil Rights Commission for all the little jabs that take place on a day-to-day basis. Those little jabs, those microaggressions, those little things that happen. We don't take that anywhere. We just take it. You know what I mean? We just absorb it for the most part.
Right. That goes back to Julian Hayward the third.
Yep.
Right. He was receiving those microaggressions. Then they became a little bit larger. Then he decided to go the route that most people would take, legal route, and then it came back to bite him in the ass.
Well, people don't realize that even when you go the legal route in a place like Hawaii where it's so small, you could be telling on somebody to their cousin.
Yeah.
You could be telling on somebody to their aunt. So now they're going to be behind the scenes making sure that they put you on the burner. All right. They're going to be working together behind the scenes. And that has happened. What the word is called nepotism.
Yeah.
All right. Nepotism was so huge in Hawaii, and I'm sure we can find some statistics on that. But nepotism was so huge in Hawaii that the federal government, the white man, had to step in.
White man.
The white man had to step in and say, hey, we're not going to allow it to this degree anymore. you're now going to basically have to, especially when it comes to federal employment,
Yeah.
you're going to have to go through us, which means sending the hiring outside the islands before you guys can pick somebody because y'all cheating. All right. And that's the environment that we're in Hawaii. All right.
And it's very critical because there's not a lot of land to move, so I can't just be like I had a good job here, I'm gonna pick up and I'm gonna quit because it's messed up over there, and I'm gonna move over to the other side of the island and get a good job in the same field. It don't be that way. So a lot of times people just have to accept what they're dealing with, and which is why the federal government had to get in, the white man had to get involved because they're saying these people are compiling such complaints in these work environments that we have to step in.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, that was in July 11th, 2023, where Hawaii implemented a comprehensive anti nepotism law.
Damn.
All right. And that was going to the state employees. So if the state employees and those that are in those positions of power had to have the white man step in and say, you can no longer hire anyone in your household, so on and so. What level was this
It
going
must
to?
have been
That
crazy.
means I'm a go and I'm gonna hire my wife, I'm gonna hire my son, I'm gonna hire my cousin, I'm gonna hire everybody. So they take up all of that. Now check this out. Now my uncle is a carpenter. I got millions of dollars at my disposal in state contracts. Who you think I'm gonna give the contract to? I'm just telling you, it's a sticky fingers. It's a cold game. All right, where you just keep all the money in the family. Why can't black people be like that? I'm just saying.
Because
I'm just saying like that. Damn.
because they hate any type of oppression so much. This is miseducation of Negro that they'll go out of their way to avoid it. They'll go out of our way to stamp it out. So if you got a sign that says blacks only or understanding that says blacks only, they hate it.
Right.
Because it doesn't include everybody else. And we've been subject to so much oppression based on race. How could we do it now?
That's crazy. That's crazy. How could we do it now?
That's crazy.
But I thought, but I thought people say we're when they start talking about Israelites, they say that we are a racist group. That we are like the black KKK and we're
That's crazy.
racist and
I don't know nowhere where black people got to get the federal government involved because of nepotism.
so
I don't know where that's happening.
So I'm just trying to be trying to understand how they come up with these terms for us, and we're sitting here reading this. It became a law because other nations were doing it, but we're the racists. That's crazy. So, you know what that boils down to?
What's that?
They did it with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Because it's passive aggressive and microaggressions. That's Hawaii. That's Hawaii. All right. They will smile. They give you the shaka, but they're gonna make sure they hire all their family, and you ain't invited. All right. So one of the terms you use, which I think is a big point, is marginalized. I think you said that, right?
Marginalized.
Can we look up the definition of that? Because that's not a regular word. That's not a regular Negro word. What does it mean to be a marginalized group?
Can you scroll up a little bit? I don't know if there's more. Okay, all right, cool. Marginalized, adjective of a person, group, or concept treated as insignificant or peripheral.
Wow. Insignificant or peripheral.
Damn.
Which means, like, I'm looking here and y'all are just over there.
Yep.
I'm not really looking at you. You're just over there.
I sense you somewhat.
Yeah.
You're over. I realize that you're over there, but it's of no importance to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was a scripture in Sirach we was talking about earlier.
Yep.
I think that's goes very well. We bring it out often when we're talking about Hawaii, but I think it really drives home the point based on what we're talking about right now.
It's in Sirach 29.
Yeah. Let's get that. Sirach 29.
Start at verse 24, or got the whole thing.
Yes.
It says give place, but 24 is kind of where it starts.
All right. Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29 and verse 24. For it is a miserable life to go from house to house. For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth.
What you got?
Dang.
What you got?
Right? This is how we are in Hawaii. We're strangers here, and they let you know that every chance they get. Like, you just
Absolutely.
visiting here, you're not from here.
Absolutely.
Or they'll test you to see how long you've been here, to see if you even have any room to stand on.
Right.
Right? So it's a miserable thing to be in a stranger's house. Go ahead.
Thou shalt entertain and feast and have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words.
Woo! Black people love to entertain. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that aren't gatekeeped out here.
Right.
Right? So black people can be some entertainment. You're gonna be low end entertainment.
Right.
But you can do that.
Wait, and we saw that
Mhm.
this past weekend when they was lined up around the block at the Waikiki show.
Yeah.
Black people ain't pulling numbers like
They
that.
not doing it.
I don't care if you're Shaq. I don't care if you're
Shaq was out here.
Yeah, and there was
and
no one there.
nobody
Yeah.
pulled up.
Yeah.
Nobody pulled up.
Yeah, we're talking about a line wrapped around the block going down one of the largest parks on the island
Yeah.
of Ammon. Ammon.
Man,
All right?
it was
They
crazy.
deep. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Read it again, verse 25.
Verse 25. Thou shalt entertain
Sing for me, rap for me. Go ahead.
and feast
We're gonna have the party.
and have no thanks.
Go back home, nigga. That's it. Right? Thanks for coming out. Thanks for bringing me home the money. Right? See you next season.
And I'm glad you said next season because that goes very much into the athletics.
Mm-hmm.
The athletics here in Hawaii. A lot of times they will bring in our people.
Yeah, I
because
see
that's
them
what
all
we
the
do.
time. Yep.
They will bring in our people to be on their sports teams and try and help them win, so on and so forth. And then once the season is over or once your career is out, hey, get on out of here.
Yep.
How do you know? Because you don't see very many of all the black people over all the years that have come here have not been able to situate themselves here and have a pathway into a profession or a career or something where they can have a suitable life here in Hawaii, in the place where they was brought to.
Yeah.
That's why he said, and have no things. Go home, nigga. All right, you've played for us. All right, now get on out. We clapped. We loved you while you played
Yep.
for us. But now your career's done. Get out of here. Where you from? Get out of here. All right, get on out of here.
Yep. Go back to Detroit.
Right.
All right. Read on from and have no thanks.
And have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words.
Thou shalt hear bitter words. Now this one, it's gonna take some time, and it might not be the bitter words that you would hear in the mainland. Like if you're not gonna hear them in Alabama or something like that. But it's gonna be words like you're not gonna receive your deposit back, or do it again, or you can't live here, or we're gonna take our business somewhere else, or you're not the people that we're looking for, or your reservation has been canceled. Right? Those type of things, right? Even if your money is no good here, you're gonna hear bitter words. Read on.
Come, thou stranger,
Uh-huh.
and furnish a table,
Yep.
and feed me of that thou hast ready.
Now you can serve these people. You can be of service to them. Go ahead.
Give place, thou stranger,
Uh-huh.
to an honorable man. My brother cometh to be lodged, and I have need of mine house.
Now when his family member come through, right? When his family member pull up, you now second fiddle. No matter how much you entertain them, no matter how much money you brought in for them, no matter how much business you brought in for them. I know all y'all barbers think y'all own them shops, but y'all don't. And we know this because we talk with y'all. Right? This is what happens when they bring their own people in, whether it be Japheth, whether it be Ammon, whether it be Moab, they gonna take it over.
And there's two instances that come to mind even when you talk about that. The MLK situation down where there was an annual MLK event that was one of the larger black events on the island, has slowly but surely been taken over by local authorities. I don't know what you call them, but the local community. All right, this was the one. Now this is Martin Luther King, y'all, the one that everybody loves.
Yeah.
But yet, we are tired of seeing you black people come down here every year, because it's only once a year, and have access to our park and our facilities. And they're no longer in control. Black people no longer control that.
It's done for.
Yeah.
It's done for.
Yeah.
I think last year was the first year I remember dealing with the sister, and she was not the one taking the registrations anymore.
There it is.
It was It was a local person, and a lot of stuff fell out from that.
Yeah.
And then this year is gone.
Now, that's one instance.
Mm-hmm.
The other instance is the Juneteenth situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, of course, we have to rent venues.
Yeah.
Our people have to rent venues and stuff like that. But the workers were making everyone well aware, including the vendors, that you're not that important. You remember how they were treating us when we were trying to pull up and get ourselves set up?
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff.
It was like we was a nuisance.
Yes.
We wasn't you supposed to be here.
Right,
that
right,
type
right,
of stuff.
Right.
All the extra verifications and
that to me is where you start talking about give place thou stranger.
yeah.
Right. Give place, thou stranger. You're not really. This isn't really your home.
That goes all the way back to where it says, "For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not
Open thy mouth. And that's what happens a lot of times is we just have to shut our mouths and take it. And it's expected of us to take this type of treatment.
Yeah.
Right? And it's annoying, which is what the scripture is going to say next. But I'll wait till you get there. All right. You was going to say something?
Verse 28.
Verse 28. These things are grievous to a man of understanding. The upbraiding of house room and reproaching of the lender.
So this is basically the take backsies, right? These things are grievous to a person of understanding, right? Now, a lot of brothers and sisters out there they just kind of let it go, and they take the poke on the shoulder for 10 years.
They don't see
and it's
it.
pent up. That's what I'm saying.
The problem is they don't see it.
Men of understanding.
That's
see
right.
it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yep.
That's the difference. But what gives us the understanding is the question, because a lot of people will say, well, I have understanding. I have wisdom.
Yeah.
I see what's going on. I'm woke.
Damn.
But what is it that gives us the understanding? Let's get it. Psalms 111 and 1 Psalms 111 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it. What is it that separates us from everyone else who says they're just as woke as us?
What makes you a man of understanding? Is it my degrees? Is it my economic stat, my business prowess? No.
It might be a knowledge of the local culture that make you. It might be that seems to work sometimes.
Yeah. Knowledge of the local culture, and I've married in.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget about
a
that.
nice foreign woman.
There you go.
Local woman.
Don't forget about that. Let's see if that's what makes you a man of understanding.
Let's read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 111 and verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever.
So, in order to have a good understanding, or to be a man of understanding or a woman of understanding, you have to be keeping God's commandments. You have to be doing God's commandments. That's the only way you're going to be really woke or enlightened, right? That's the only way you're really going to be able to even see what's going on around you, because most of the people that we speak with, they don't really even acknowledge it until we point it out.
Yeah.
We see that right there? That right there? That's wrong. Then they go, yeah, no, I do know that. Yeah, that does happen. That's because they're not aware of it. It takes us pointing it out.
Right.
That's the only way to be a man of understanding, is to be keeping God's commandments. All right? And most of you don't know God's commandments. You've not been taught God's commandments, because the churches don't teach God's commandments. Right? That's why it's high time for all you black Latinos, all you black and Latinos. All right, I know Latinos is black, so I just want to make sure y'all understand. We're talking about everybody here. All right, everybody, and the diaspora, because we also know there's a lot of you that are in a lot of these families of the other nations and are afraid to come out. We see y'all. We see y'all. You guys in your when you're in your groups or walking by or driving by. One of these things is not like the other. Mm-hmm. We can see y'all, but you're so afraid to step out of that comfort zone of not being with the local community, right? And we're not saying you gotta shun them. We're just saying, hey, come learn who you are, right? So that you're not afraid to, as they say in I'm gonna quote the movie Book of Clarence, you're not afraid to hold space. Because a lot of our people are afraid to hold space because we feel insignificant and peripheral. We've taken on the identity that the other nations have put on us. We've taken that on. And so, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's really sad and depressing how often you come across brothers and sisters that just accept their situation in that manner. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that bad, like or you get the whole it started off pretty rough. But now it's good.
Yeah.
When you ask them, well, what changed? It's really just your acceptance of you being insignificant and peripheral.
You've accepted your position.
You've
accepted your position in the social hierarchy of Hawaii. Yes, there is a social hierarchy of Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Like to hear it, here it go. Esau, you got Japanese, you got Chinese, Filipino, you got the Polynesians, but then don't forget about the Hawaiians. Hawaiians go up here on the top too because they kind of partner with Esau. Esau and them kind of got their thing where they get the federal funding. All right, that's all I'm talking about. Esau has taken the land. Esau runs everything.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. But then they give 9 figures in federal funds to the whole Native Hawaiian community. All right. Bishop Estates. Was it Campbell Estates? What's the huge one? Kamehameha Schools.
Yeah.
Bishop Estates. These land trusts are some of the most wealthiest land trusts in the state.
And
billions and billions and billions.
Yeah, big billions.
Yeah.
And because they're privately owned, right? Because they're privately owned by those trusts, they can just be like, we don't want you here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you trying to open up a business?
Yeah.
They find out you black,
Yeah.
they can be like, we're going to go in another direction.
And that's true story, y'all.
Yeah.
When we was looking for a school. True story. All right. Everything was good till they found out who we were. Then here comes verbatim.
Yeah.
We think we're going to go in another direction. All right.
Yeah. Your money's no good here.
Even though you got the money to pay.
Yep.
So the Hawaiians, they kind of go in there, they're kind of hand in hand because they get the money. Now, don't get it. A lot of people they don't understand that it's because of a lot of times what it seems like. Obviously, we're not on the inside. It seems like there is a mismanagement of funds once they get the funding, and that it's not properly disseminated amongst the people. But the white man's like, we gave y'all the money. You know how they do, right?
Yep.
We gave y'all the money. What you do is up to you. All right, and then you see a lot of infighting, and they do nigga stuff. Let's keep it real. All right, they do nigga stuff. But then, like I said, you got the Japanese, you got the Chinese, you got the Filipinos, you got the black people kind of in there, and then at the very bottom, you got Micronesians. And I know a lot of y'all don't even know what Micronesians are, but remember, we keep reminding y'all there are thousands of islands in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Right? Polynesians are just one group. The Melanesians are another group. That's where, for you that are familiar, Bishop Nathaniel went out to like Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, where the people are darker skinned. That's Melanesia, all right, closer to the Australia, that area, all right. And then you have Micronesia, which is a lot of tiny islands as well. There's people scattered all the Palau, Chuk, federal states of Micronesia. There's just a lot. There's so many islands out here. So, but they usually fall at the bottom of the totem pole there. And of course, in a separate box is the military. What I just gave you was everyday life of those that aren't military, because the military lives in their own ecosystem. They just kind of come in and out, when they pass by, But that's why I don't misunderstand about the military.
Yeah, the military is big money for the local community.
Oh yeah.
Y'all get used up real quick.
Oh yeah.
And they know you just gonna transfer out in 3 years.
Oh yeah. Hey, you know that Chevy, was it Dodge Chevy? Everybody want a Charger. Yeah, go get them a Charger. What's the other one?
Man, it's male thought cars.
Yeah,
right. So you got the Charger, you got the Camaro, and the Challenger. But I don't know if the Challenger's up there no more.
Okay,
right? Oh, he said yeah. He was like hell yeah. He was like hell yeah. It'd be all in the parking lot.
Yeah,
but
they see military come in approved.
Yep.
Approved. Let me go ahead and get that allotment out that check.
Yep.
I'm gonna charge you 85% interest, and you can drive out today. I'm telling you, that's the way they do it. Big money.
Oh man.
Big money. Hey, true story.
Yeah, I know. I know.
They think I'm making this up.
I know.
This is a true story.
That's
All right.
crazy.
But yeah, on that being marginalized too. Let's get that in Psalms 51. Psalms 51. Talk about that hierarchy here. And I think it's also, we have to also bring up like a lot of the other quote unquote black organizations here in Hawaii. They're not really looking to uplift our people. They're looking to you know how it is. I want to sit at the table and not have my own table. You know, it's that old guard of the civil rights movement. Of course, you got your NAACPs, and y'all know all the same groups. They're out here too, all right, in much smaller numbers. And you know, a lot of times they're not willing to call things out the way we are calling things out.
Mm-hmm.
We're showing you what it is. Straight, no chaser. This is what it is. This is what we deal with as a people. We're not sugarcoating it. We do get kicked in the teeth. Unfortunately, we're not unified enough as a people to really make moves, right?
Yeah.
But the Israelites can. The Israelites do. All right. Even in our small movements in our small community, we're able to move as a unit. All right, and move how we need to move. Of course, giving all praise to Jesus, the Most High, and Jesus the Christ, moving in that spirit to be able to move how we need to move as a community, right? But the rest of you that's trying to go it alone, you find yourself treading water.
That's a perfect example.
Treading water.
That's a perfect
for the
example.
island too.
Oh yeah. I didn't catch that part. Yeah, he good. That boy good.
Yeah,
that boy good. Yeah.
So, but that's what happens. You and then you know, you hear brothers talk about, you know, tiring themselves out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's a lot of brothers that I've encountered that they come in with high hopes, and then a couple months, a couple years later, they gotta exit real quick. They was like, I'm just waiting for my lease to expire so I can get up out of here. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, a lot of that is misunderstood on the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, they killing niggas out there?
Right.
Not necessarily.
Right.
But they drying them out.
There you go.
They drying them out.
And that's literally the definition of being marginalized.
Yeah.
All right. That word is what it means to be black in Hawaii. It's to be a marginalized group. Remember, Bishop did a class called Benign Neglect. I think it was Bishop Yawasab. But benign neglect. All right, that's what it is. All right, so let's read that. Isaiah 51 and 23.
Oh, you said Isaiah. Sorry. Isaiah 51. I'm tripping.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 51 and verse 23. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee.
I will put it. What is the it? All right, that is the rebuke of the Lord, the curses that have fallen upon the children of Israel. Believe it or not, the things that we experience in Hawaii as that we're talking about, this benign neglect, about being a marginalized group, those are the curses that follow us. The part that we read in Sirach 29 that talked about not having a house, going from house to house. That's what we are. We are pilgrims on this earth. We don't even have a homeland. That's what it's called, a homeland. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a homeland. We're all pilgrims, no matter where we are. Some of us just landed in different places of the earth. But we're traveling from house to house. And the other nations will always make sure that we know that you don't belong here. So when it says, I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, he's talking about all the nations and all the places we were scattered. He's going to put the curses upon them when he returns. This thing is going to flip on upside down. He's going to turn our captivity. So I want you to think about that example. Because he said, I'm telling you right there, he's saying, I'm going to put it on them. If I'm on the bottom and you're on the top, and when my king comes back, he says, I'm going to turn your captivity. Guess what that means for everybody else? We're going to be on top, and you're going to be on bottom. I think Killmonger said that the best.
Man,
The world's gonna start over, and this time my people gonna be on top.
I got chills when he said that. I felt like we was the only ones in the movie theater like that understood that.
Right. But I know a lot of you Christians thought he
Man.
was the bad guy, but he
No.
actually wasn't the bad guy. All right. He just wanted his people to be on top the way
Yeah.
they should be. All right. Guess what? Jesus Christ said the same thing.
Right.
Yes, Jesus Christ, the black man in the Bible. All right. Go ahead, read.
Which have said to thy soul,
These are all the people that afflict us, all the nations that are round about that afflict us.
That have said to our soul,
Read.
bow down, that we may go over.
be humble so that we can walk over you. Be humble. Give room to my brother. Give room to my cousin. You don't hold space here. Bow down
Yeah.
that we may go over.
Read.
And thou hast laid thy body as the ground.
And now we have accepted it. We've accepted it so much that we lay our body down as the ground and then get mad when brothers like us come up and say, hey, bro, stand up. You shouldn't have to lay down like that. Just stand up. Hold space. Be present. You have value. You're not peripheral.
Yeah.
You're not insignificant. They'll fight us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That remind me of the brother at the last school, right? That was the personal servant
Yes.
of the landlord.
You mean the brother that was living under the stairs?
Under the stairs,
Okay, yeah.
in a little tool closet, right? So he did all the little menial tasks for the property, right? And there was drugs involved. The brother was down and out, and it seemed as though the landlord was a godsend to him. Yeah, man, I'll hook you up with a job. You can live on the premises too. It's completely beneficial to the landlord.
Absolutely.
Completely beneficial. Because the brother had to double as security when the crackheads come out at night.
Shoot them away. Yep.
Then he get on crack. You know what I mean? It was just a vicious cycle. And when he was done with him, he bringing another Israelite brother, the Puerto Rican brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the same situation. He didn't even get to sleep in the tool shed.
Yeah.
He had a tent in
Yeah.
the back,
Yep. Outside.
outside, in the elements.
On the concrete
Yeah.
driveway.
We going back there. I'm like, bro, it's a tent back there. And he's like, oh, it's me.
Yeah.
I was like, the hell going on,
Yep.
man?
Yep.
That's crazy. And the thing is, that's he was perfectly okay accepting that because at least he got a job.
At least, yep.
Right.
And that is the perspective of a lot of black people here. Was,
Yeah.
At least it's not Louisiana.
Right.
At least
Right.
it's not Mississippi. At least it's not Arkansas or
Yeah.
Colorado. You know, so I'm just basically accepting the lesser of two evils.
Mhm.
I think that's the way a lot of black
Yeah.
people take it here. And
Yeah.
they try to make it into the haven that it's not.
Yeah.
Because remember, it said a man of understanding is going to find that miserable. No matter where you go, no matter where you are, these curses are going to follow you, even in Hawaii. Why? Because you are the children of Israel. Black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. And no matter where you try and go, you will not be able, as a people, to rise above the situations that surround you. To rise above the stigma that comes with your people, because you cannot rise above the status of your people. No matter how successful you think you are individually, you will still be seen as your people. You will still be seen as your
Yeah.
people to the other nations.
And let's get that script real quick. Deuteronomy 28. Let's prove that. Deuteronomy 28. And was that 45? Yes. Let's start at 43, though.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 43.
Now remember, these are the curses that Moses gave or prophesied would happen to the children of Israel for disobedience.
Mhm.
This is how we're able to identify ourselves in the scriptures, because these curses fit our people, not individuals. For all you Christians, well, I know a poor white person too. No, as a people. Because if that poor white person in your neighborhood, matter of fact, that poor white person in your neighborhood probably is still the manager of the local McDonald's,
Yeah.
while you are the fry cook, right? So even in that condition, he still rises above you.
Yeah.
But anyway, read.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
Those strangers represent that mixed multitude. that came out of Egypt behind us. All right. The Lord was saying, those strangers are going to get up above you real high if you break my laws. Read.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And you're going to become the bottom of the social hierarchy. Because right now, when you come out, you're on top. But these strangers, if you break my laws, you're going to be put on bottom of all of these nations. Read.
He shall lend to thee.
He shall be your lender. He shall be your lender. He's the one you're going to seek to for everything. He's the one you have to rent the venues out from. Read.
And thou shalt not lend to him.
This is why you can't be a racist. I just want to say this disqualifies us from being racist because we can't lend to nobody. We can't give nothing to nobody. We have no say on anyone, on how they move and where they can go and what they can rent, and we have no say. I just want to throw that in there because, they love saying we racist. We have no power for now. Read.
He shall be the head.
He shall be thy head. These nations, read.
And thou shalt be the tail.
And thou, you Israelites, shall be the tail. Following behind their lead. They tell you what to do. What does the head do? The head directs the body. The head turns the body where it needs to look and where it needs to go. You're just the tail. You have no say-so. You just follow wherever they lead you. You're the tail. Isn't that the condition of our people? Even in Hawaii? Read.
Moreover,
read.
all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee.
What is pursuit? Pursuit means it's going to chase you down. It's going to track you down no matter where you run. And black people have always thought that they can run to Hawaii for solace, for rest. For rest. You're not going to get rest here either. It's just going to be in a different form. It's going to be in the form we're talking about now, which is that marginalized, benign neglect. You're not going to have the same access to things. Read.
And overtake thee.
Come on.
Till thou be destroyed.
Read.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
And there it is, plain and simple. This is why these things are happening to you, black man. This is why these things are happening to you, black woman, Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, Native American man, Native American woman, and this scattered remnant that's here in the islands. We always want to make sure you understand that we do have a scattered remnant here in the islands. This is why you're in those conditions. Especially when, let's talk about the scattered remnant that's in these families just for a second.
Oh, shoot,
you are also marginalized as well. Because remember you said when we was reading in Sirach that it talked about entertain us?
Yeah.
What is typically the position of that black person in the local group?
Clown, funny man, dancer, rapper.
These curses will pursue you no matter where you go. That's what God is telling you.
Also, the punching bag.
The
punching bag.
Yep.
We ain't gonna forget about that domestic stuff, like Azalea,
yep.
Peliao, I forget her name.
Yep.
Right. I remember me and Judea was out there in Wyandotte side, right? And we was talking to a brother in the grocery store, and he was Puerto Rican. I think his wife was gay, and he literally, we told him, like, a lot of times these Puerto Rican kids don't want to say that because they get attacked when they do. And he was like it clicked. He was like, you know what? I do see that. He never saw that. Like, he never noticed it until we pointed it out. And then he can recollect all those things.
And what's so funny about that is that the reason why it's hidden is because the way it's done, it's jokingly.
Yeah.
It's through jokes. So you don't really receive it as a direct shot.
Yeah.
Because we're just joking. Remember what the scripture say? Am I not in sport in Proverbs?
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Proverbs? Where he's shooting. How's it go? Dang.
Proverbs 10-ish.
Bear with me. It's it talks about it's Proverbs 26 and 18.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 26 and verse 18. As a madman who casteth firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and saith, am not I in sport?
You hear that?
Mm.
So, as a madman who casteth firebrands, arrows, and
Death. That's what these other nations do to our people that are in their friends groups.
but then it says, I'm deceiving you, but says,
Am I not in sport? Oh, I'm just joking.
I-
I'm just joking. It's just a joke. Don't take it so Don't take it so
Yeah.
personal. It's just a
Yeah.
joke.
You gotta have tough skin, bro.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they say when they tearing you down.
Yeah.
Financially, socially, psychologically, all of that. But real quick, can we get a definition? I want to get the definition of destroyed, because this actually goes into it. Because remember, it said like the man that's casting firebrands and arrows, right? Firebrands and arrows isn't for decoration,
Right.
right? So I want the definition of destroyed. Yep, that's it right there. Scroll down. All right, so it says put an end to the existence of something by damaging or attacking it. That's what we typically think of when we think of the word destroy. We think of demolished, right? But open up some of them. It says ruin someone emotionally or spiritually, right? Defeat someone utterly. That's what's happened to us. That's what's happened to us, right? Can you open up some of those? On the top one, open up some of those similar words.
is that a
Click the
slave?
arrow. Right, so some of the words is you got pull down, tear down, dismantle, break up, wreck, ruin. Right, man, my eyes blurring. It was one. I think it's you got deface, injure, devastate. Right, it's something that I'm skipping around. Right, wreak havoc on. Right, disfeature. I don't know what that sounds crazy. But make a mess of, right? Those are all things that go into the word destroyed and that affect us.
I like prevent and frustrate too.
Woo! Right? You get prevented from everything that you need to survive in a minimal standard. Right? When you find a way, they're going to frustrate your cause.
Muck up.
All of that stuff works.
Yeah.
Right, so when you finally get yourself going, this is why black people, and Hispanic people too, but Hispanic people, they finally getting their wake up call, right? This is why black people, when they come here, they be like, oh yeah, it's going good, I got this going, I got this. You gotta have a job and a side hustle and this and this and that, right? They got big dreams, and then it gets mucked up, then they get prevented, then it gets frustrated, then they get terminated, right? One more definition, officer. Look up afflict, because a lot of times people have a one-dimensional view of the word afflict, right? Yep. Go down. It says of a problem or illness, cause pain or suffering to affect or trouble. Now open up some of them similar words, right? Trouble, bother, burden, distress, harass, worry, oppress, annoy. Annoy, right? I know y'all be like, that's just annoying. It's not a big deal. That's affliction. That's affliction. Vex, irritate, exasperate. I ain't heard that in years. It's like an uncle word. Strain, stress, tax, torment, plague, blight, bedevil, pursue. All of those things are how we get afflicted. Now I know we only looking for the big ones, right? They afflict me because they beat me with a crowbar. That's not only affliction, right? So so now brothers be like, if I'm not getting beat by a crowbar, it's not really affliction. Because when I was in Kentucky, they beat me with a crowbar. Now when I come here, all they do is stop me from getting a job. Right. That's not affliction.
Right.
Yes, it is, brother, sister. Go ahead, officer.
Well, but that goes back to the first word, marginalized.
Mm-hmm.
That is affliction, but it's just the affliction by a different name.
Yes.
And that is oftentimes where that things get blurred here in Hawaii, is that it's affliction by a different name.
Yeah.
And so we think it's not affliction, but yes, it is. It's just by a different name. So we use terms like marginalized. We use terms like benign neglect, right? So here's some of the, I just want to touch on this, like some real world examples of being marginalized that people can relate to, right? So like in the workplace, some of these things, and not only a lot of these EO complaints come with this too, of not getting promoted when you justly deserve the promotion. They will bypass you and go bring in somebody else, right, to have that position or have that promotion. So you're like, wait, I deserve that promotion. I've been doing this work. I've been holding it down, whatever it is. No. We're gonna bring in this person over here, right? We're gonna go outside and grab this person and put them over you, even though you've been doing. That's being marginalized. That's being marginalized. Not having the. That's being prevented from the normal trajectory of a career. You're being prevented, but I do it with a smile.
Yeah.
So
they'll sit you down and be like, hey, you've been doing such a great job.
Yeah.
But we need you where you're at.
Damn, that
you know what
real.
I'm saying? And I had a brother tell me this stuff, and then he was like, at first, I was just casually asking, like, hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Little small talk.
Yeah.
But then one day I was talking to him, and then he was like, man, he got kind of real.
Yeah.
And he told me like his resume and stuff, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been doing this for 20 years. I fill in for this position, but when I go for the promotion, I'm always getting denied.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
And truth be told, for most of the people, most of the so-called black people that are in Hawaii, their resumes are stellar.
It'd be fantastic.
Especially the ones coming out of the military who are transitioning to civilian life. Your resume blows away most locals. I just want you to know that. So when you don't get hired and you don't get the position or you don't get the promotion, it's because you're a part of this marginalized group and you cannot rise above the status of your people.
Yep.
That's why you don't get it. Because your resume makes most locals look like just real talk. All right. So with that thought, were we going to something? Oh, we're talking about marginalized. I'm sorry, I got distracted when I.
It's real out here. It's real out here.
Yeah. But these are the things that a lot of people deal with. And we talked about promotion and preventing. I'll just get another example just on what you're just to kind of follow up on that as well. Is that before that promotion board or whatever going for that job, you got to remember that they're cousins. So the person that's hiring you and your coworker are cousins, bruh. So they're going to talk about you, bruh, after work. When you go home and you're living in your personal world, they're part of each other's personal world.
Yeah.
So they're going to be talking about you and be like, no, I'd rather give it to Chemo. We're going to give the job to Chemo. And then the other one, like, oh, yeah, I think you're right. So not even having to bad talk you, let's just go get it, Chemo. Chemo would be great for that position. So I'm not going to even consider Tyrone. I'm just going to go get Chemo. So you can't say I directly did something to him. It's passive aggressive. It's benign neglect. It is being marginalized. We're just giving you examples of what it's like to be marginalized. We experience it here in Hawaii just like anywhere else. And that's really, I think, the point we're trying to drive home. A lot of people think that it is a haven. And it's not.
It's not.
It's not a haven.
It's not.
All right. It's just nice weather. All right. That's all it is. Nice weather.
Don't get me started on these contracts. I don't want to go nowhere either, man. These contracts and these leases, man. These things be diabolical.
Oh, housing was another big area. After employment housing was the next place where a lot of discrimination suits came in. So the Hawaii Civil, whatever it's called.
Diabolical, man. Yeah. They was like, if anything happens, you handle it.
Right.
You handle it.
Right.
I don't care if it's a tornado. You handle it.
Yeah.
I don't care if the building blow up because for some other reason. You handle it. You're responsible for it.
Oh, yeah.
Or go live on the street.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Because I'm going to move my cousin. My brother's here.
Dang, it's crazy. Diabolical.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got any thoughts that you want to, any other thoughts you want to bring out with what we deal with here as far as.
Actually, that Proverbs 26 was cold. That's my main thought. Can we just read that one more time? Proverbs 26 and 18. Because that really drives home for me the spirit that's out here. Yeah. Proverbs 26 and 18.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 26 and verse 18. As a madman who casteth firebrands, arrows, and death.
Firebrands, arrows, and death. Go ahead.
So is the man that deceiveth his neighbor, and saith, Am not I in sport?
So now, when you look at verse 18, and you got the madman that's casting firebrands, arrows, and death, everybody's aware of that. Everybody knows that that's a dangerous person, right? So on the mainland, where you getting all these lynchings and police shootings and stuff, everybody's aware of that. But it says, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbor. It's the same. So is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and saith, Am I not in sport? Am I not in sport? It's the same. It don't feel the same. It might not have the same impact visually, but it's the same. All of it lead to death, destruction, affliction,
Yep.
all of that.
Yep.
All of that. Right? It just now there's like a team of, well, over here, black people compete for everything.
Right.
Right. Well, we out here, you know how black people be like, hey, I live in the most dangerous city in the world, man. We got the highest crime rate. I was like, don't brag about that, bro. That's horrible.
Right.
That's horrible. So when we come here, like, the black voice is not only silenced by the local population, but also by our own people on the mainland.
Yeah.
It ain't that bad, man. Y'all tripping about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look, it's hard to live. A lot of brothers come here and can't survive
Can't
here.
stay here, yeah.
They be having to flee.
Yeah.
Like from a serpent.
Yeah.
They be having to flee. I be keeping in contact with somebody like, nah, I just had to get out of here, bro. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I like, bro, I was trying to tell you how to hold it down out here, but you thought it was something else.
Yeah.
Right?
You thought it was one way.
Yeah.
It's really the other.
It's the other way. Right? Y'all are used to dealing with the white man and his antics. It's a different ball game when it's a Filipino person.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game when it's Moab.
Yep.
They deal differently.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, if I would kind of just summarize it as well, I just really underlining that whole being marginalized. And I guess the last example I would kind of put out there is this is very, a carnal example, is, we're all at a party. We've been given the invite to a party, but you're stuck in the hallway of the party. All right, you're not allowed in the room where everyone is at, and no one's telling you you have to leave, but you're in the hallway. No one's bringing you drinks. No one is bringing you inside and introducing you to the people at the party. You're just in the hallway, but you don't have access to anything in the party. But you were invited, and no one told you you had to leave. That's what it's like to be marginalized. All right? And so that's what we're bringing out, that you black people here that you deal with, that you don't like to say you deal with it, but you deal with it. You know you deal with it. And so we're just bringing it out because that's what we do. We bring the truth of what it is unapologetically, and bring out the, straight no chaser.
Yep.
So when are you going to wake up and recognize that as a situation and then come join your brothers? Because guess what? Being unified holds a lot more weight than you treading water alone. So you might as well repent, learn who you are, and come back to your people, which is the children of Israel, because that's who you are. Learn these commandments, and our God will also fight for us.
Right.
Don't forget that. So that's all I got, officer. You got anything else you want to close out with?
Yeah. We part of the group now. Don't forget to donate.
That's right.
It's over there. Don't forget to donate, right? To support, and also like, share, comment. Go ahead and share this everywhere you can. You know what I'm saying? It's important that this message goes out to the brothers and sisters that are out there that are marginalized because they feel like they have no voice.
Right.
We speaking for you.
That's right.
The Bible speaking for you.
That's right.
So it's important that you go ahead and share and support.
That's right.
All right.
All right, Israel. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Sands of the Sea. All right. And from your brothers in Hawaii, until next episode, we say shalom.
What is a nation? Exploitation is men leading by example.